What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Wednesday, and I'm going to get into something. I did a story in October of this year, a couple months ago, out of Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out B More. And it was involving these two people right here. These two oxygen thieves that you see on the screen, ladies and gentlemen, are Gerald Bird, age 34, from Baltimore, Maryland, and his wife, Bernice Bird, age 32. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these people are locked up under the charges of first and second degree child abuse and child neglect, resulting in death. Those of you that have been with me for a while, remember these pictures that I'm putting up here. These are the people that starved their 5-year-old little girl. Her name was Zona Bird, to death. And her 6-year-old brother, who's not named, was right behind her in the starvation process. He survived. These people are locked up, like I said. When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of, documentaries and stuff like that. I used to look at stuff like, stuff on slavery, stuff on civil rights, stuff on, war crimes like the Holocaust and stuff like this, and just the atrocities that another human being could inflict on another one was baffling to me. One of the things that really got to me, where I would never forget, was seeing a lot of times the bodies of those people that were starved in Germany. Also in Russia, when what's his name? Stalin starved some of his people out. Just the way the bodies looked, the horror of the bodies and the suffering they went through as they took their final breaths is something that will stick in your mind if you ever get a chance to see it. That's a horrible death, starvation. And to have this happening at this day and time in America by people that are your parents, it's unfathomable. Take a look at this story because they got some new information about it, and they talk about CPS in there and how the system failed as usual. It's nothing new, and we'll come back and talk about this because I want to show you guys something.
Child abuse case out of Baltimore left people with one question. How did no one see the signs that a 5-year-old was being starved to death in her own home? And if they did, why did no one do anything about it? WMER2 News' Elizabeth Worthington is taking an in-focus look tonight at this horrible case and the Child Protective Services team, and how she joins us now in studio with what you've learned about this awful story.
Yeah, Kelly, there's a system that's set up not only to protect children's safety, but also their privacy. But after a child abuse victim dies, privacy laws don't apply in the same way. And this recent case out of Baltimore City has some calling for more transparency surrounding parents accused of abusing their children. People who live on this block of Aiken Street in Northeast Baltimore say they had no idea about the horror going on inside this home.
And the entire time I've been living here, I've never seen the kids come in and out of the home.
When I stepped out here, there was detectives and police everywhere. We never knew the reason why, because we never knew the neighbors at all.
Their neighbors, Gerald and Bernice Bird, were arrested in October and now face murder and child abuse charges related to the death of their 5-year-old daughter. According to charging documents, Zona Bird was found unresponsive in her bedroom, her hands ice cold, her ribs clearly visible, and her body severely emaciated. Neither parent could tell detectives the last time they saw their daughter alive or when she last ate. Her 6-year-old brother was so malnourished he could barely stand or walk.
This is not an impulsive act. Starving someone takes time. It is such a level of cruelty or disconnection from humanity that you cannot do in an instant. It takes time.
Delegate Stephanie Smith, who represents Baltimore in the state legislature, is calling for greater transparency in cases like this after learning that the Bird family had prior contact with Child Protective Services. The parents were arrested for assault in November 2019 after another daughter of theirs showed up to school with a black eye. Gerald reached a plea deal with prosecutors, 5 days in jail and 2 years on probation. Charges against Bernice were dropped. Due to confidentiality laws, the Department of Human Services can't share details about what happened next.
A child is now dead. and they've been in contact with the system. I think the public deserves to know, what does that interaction look like?
DHS can release records in cases where a child abuse victim has died, as long as it wouldn't jeopardize an investigation or prosecution. In Zona Bird's case, Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates won't release the records to prioritize the integrity of the investigation.
But simply knowing if there were interactions with CPS, the dates, the times, I don't see that being the same as, undermining the integrity of a criminal investigation about truly starving a child. This is about the supports that someone under CPS supervision received or did not receive.
It takes a village to raise a child, but it also takes a village to ignore it. And I think there are many people who unfortunately now have that feeling in the pit of their stomach that they should have done something.
Adam Rosenberg from one of Baltimore's top child abuse prevention organizations, Center for Hope, says help is out there for families, but none of it becomes available until someone makes a report.
When we activate the system, it does not mean that someone's immediately arrested and a child's taken away.
If it's an abuse case, there's a 24-hour response time to the home to initiate the case. If it's child neglect, then within 5 days, there's a response to the home to initiate the case.
The head of DHS's Social Services Administration, Dr. Alger Studstill, says the goal is to get a case resolved within a month. The court decides whether a child should be removed from the home. Then DHS begins working to get the parents to a point where they can safely take care of their child again. A judge makes the final decision on whether the parents can regain custody. It varies whether or not a caseworker will continue to follow up with home visits and for how long.
We do risk assessments to attempt to prevent future maltreatment and future harm. However, we're unable to predict what may happen in the future. And if something does happen, then we're ready to respond as we would.
But of course, if the system is overwhelmed, managing cases becomes a lot more difficult. DHS says caseworker vacancies have dropped to 7.7% since last year, but they're going to continue to reduce that even further. Delegate Smith says the issue might not just be about needing more bodies, but about needing more money. She plans to look into that next legislative session as she sits on the Appropriations Committee.
It's just an awful story.
It really is.
Other delegates that agree with Delegate Smith?
Yes, we got a statement from Senator Corey McCray, who also represents Baltimore, and he agrees with Delegate Smith that transparency in cases like this is essential. We have to strike some sort of a balance between sharing information and protecting prosecutions. Delegate Susan McComas from Harford County also put forth a bill last legislative session that would require certain records be released upon request, as long as the state's attorney's office has an opportunity to redact any information in about 30 days. That bill didn't go anywhere, but we'll see if she puts it forth again next session.
Let's hope she does. All right, Elizabeth, thanks a lot for that report.
All right, guys, you've seen that thing, and he talking about how the system failed. The system been failing for years. That's nothing new. So they asked these people, when the last time you seen your daughter alive? They couldn't even tell. Neighbors said they found at certain times the boy and the girl in the backyard trying to eat out the trash. They were so conditioned they didn't know that they could run away. Don't you think about that? These people made a willful error with sinister intent. They did. I want you to look at these pieces of shit right here. Look at them. They don't look like they missed a meal. They don't even look like they hungry at that point in that video. How do you as an adult eat food? Because human beings are one of the only animals on the planet that eat for enjoyment, not just to take in sustenance. You're eating your favorite food, your snacks, and you have children starving in the next room. You don't even go in there and check on them on a daily basis, and they're right there. How evil and cruel is that? Did you hear what the lady said? She said, oh, that's a slow, cruel death. You're watching the wasting away of somebody in your house or that's around you, but you don't give a damn. Suck your teeth and keep sticking Twinkies in your fat ass throat. Kind of person are you? Kind of people are y'all? Reason why I brought that up, guys, and I'm not going to talk too much about what you've seen, because what was said is already said. I'm going to show you something. When I saw this earlier, it sparked me to think about various stages of starvation on human beings, what happens at various stages. I want you to see something. I said it goes in 3 stages. It says stage 1 starvation is when a person skips a meal and the body breaks down stored fat and protein to maintain blood sugar levels. We all been through that. Hey, sometimes I be in here working my ass off with these videos and forget to eat. I might get a headache or I might feel like I'm nauseous. That's stage 1. Stage 2 occurs when the body relies on stored fats for energy after a prolonged period of fasting. I'm about to say that's when it happens when you do fasting to lose weight. You start using your fat stores for energy and breaking your fat down. Stage 3, the body's stored fats are depleted and it turns to bone and muscle for energy. This is the stage that is often fatal. Remember I said your body starts to eat itself from the inside out? That's the stage I was talking about. Now I want to show you something. I also looked over here on starvation effects on the human body and on children. Listen to this. What happens to the body? Up to 3 weeks without food. This decreased brain function, decreased heart function, and shrinkage of the heart. Body feeds on glycogen, which is stored in the liver. Starvation causes the body to bloat, diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting. Lack of sustained sustenance sometimes causes the urine to turn black. Digestive tract muscles can lose the ability to push food through the gut. In children, starvation in children can have a devastating and lifelong effect, resulting in wasting and stunting of growth. Severe protein deficiency causing fluid retention and a swollen abdomen in children. We've all seen those starving children in Africa with the big stomach, but the rest of them look like a skeleton. That's what they're talking about. I want you to think about that. You enter the fatal stage when all stored fats have been depleted and the body turns to bone and muscle for energy. They said she died, visibly, starved, ribs and everything showing. Said the little boy was so weak he couldn't even stand up. I did a story about people in New York, man and woman in New York that locked the fridge up from their other kids. The kids are so messed up they can't even feed themselves still. Their body's that depleted. And they was locked up a month and a half, 2 months, and the babies are still messed up. Biggest thing, and I'm gonna say this in the end, y'all. Reason why stories like this bother me, because it's slow, it's torturous, and these are children. That's unbearable for any human being. Any adult human to deal with. You've seen multiple movies where they make a horror movie out of starvation in itself. And we watch the movie, they be shipwrecked, they be on a raft, they delusional, they can't go to the bathroom, they trying to eat each other and all kind of crazy stuff. Imagine that being a child. Don't know anything about the world or still learning about their bodies, not even developed yet, and they're tearing themselves down and they didn't ask to be in that position at all. So why are we even dealing with trying to be civil with uncivilized people that do savage shit to their own damn children? They said in that thing, CPS will get the word and it might take a month before they can decide whether they remove the child or not. In a case like this, that's too much damn time. Who is making up all of this stuff to organize and say, okay, this is the right amount of time limit depending on the severity of the crime? It's crazy. I can go in here right now on Google Images and look at a bunch of children that was abused. Some of the scars they got are messed up. If I look hard enough, I can go and see videos of children being abused in the act. That was used in courtrooms. Horrific. I don't see how anybody with a civilized mind see a savage do some shit like that and then give them grace. These people shouldn't be alive right now. It's up to me. For real. Bible say, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Hell, one of the 4 horsemen was what? Brought famine, pestilence, and all of that stuff. It's used as punishment. In the Bible, at the last days, that's going to be one of the punishments. Famine. How come it ain't one of the punishments we use on those that do this to other people? The rapture ain't even here yet, and the apocalypse and all of that stuff, and there are children going through this shit right now. Make it make sense. I'm done. Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Y'all are lucky I don't run shit. I would fix this shit real quick. Seriously, the punishment would always fit the crime. And I don't care why you did it, because I'm going to tell you something. The way I think is, I don't look at the action. I look at the intent, or for the result of the action, or the action's intent, like what your intent was. You're not teaching them a lesson at 5 and 6. That's a hell of a way to die. And just looking at her makes it even fucking worse. See you in the next video. Take care.